White's dog was tutoring the girl with her homework. When the girl asked what 6 divided by 2 was, the dog, wanting to create a good learning environment for her, wouldn't let anyone approach, not even the girl's father. After the girl went to school, it would accompany the mother during yoga practice, mimicking whatever poses she did. But the mother often got busy with work and forgot school dismissal time. Little White would pick up the leash in its mouth to remind her it was time to pick up the child. Despite being such an intelligent dog, the father initially didn't want to adopt it. He always wore a sour expression, showing affection instead to the old black dog. When Little White wanted to shake hands with its master, it was often ignored. Watching the pampered old black dog, Little White couldn't help but feel frustrated. After all, it had been found by the mother on the roadside. However, after the mother had a baby, Little White became much gentler, guarding the infant every day. The father, afraid it might hurt the baby, locked it outside. Seeing Old Black pass by inside the house, Little White tapped on the glass, asking Old Black to open the door. Old Black jumped up to the door handle and let Little White in. Surprisingly reliable, that Old Black. Little White sat outside the baby's room, quietly standing guard all night. When the father woke up in the morning and found Little White still at the door, he began questioning Old Black. Old Black played dumb, but seeing the father's persistent stare, it simply turned and walked away. Gradually, Little White became the little helper in caring for the child. It would pick up used diapers and toss them in the trash. When the child dropped food everywhere during meals, it would crawl under the table to clean the floor. Time flew by, and the daughter grew up. Little White watched as its owners helped their daughter up the stairs every day. It too helped care for the girl, tirelessly carrying her up to the second floor again and again. This continued for 3 years, but on this rainy night, tragedy struck. Little White kept scratching at the door trying to wake its owners, then urgently led them to the girl's bedroom. They discovered the girl was ill. Thanks to Little White's timely discovery, the girl was rushed to the hospital. After returning home, Little White stayed by the girl's side every moment. But one day, when the family of 3 prepared for a long trip, Little White tried to make them stay but was ignored by the father. They never imagined that because they didn't bring Little White, their daughter would nearly die in the forest. Watching the family about to depart, Little White tried to stop them from leaving but was forcibly taken back by the nanny. To prevent it from sneaking out, she locked it in a cage. But the nanny had no idea that Little White had a powerful ally. While the nanny was sleeping, Old Black directly helped Little White escape. Worried sick about its family, Little White rushed out the door and plunged into the unfamiliar city. Following the lingering scent of its owners, it arrived at a gas station, the very place where the father had briefly stopped during the day. The clever Little White hitched a ride and officially began its journey to find its owners. Little White quickly left when the man stopped his car. It then came to a bustling market and heard passers-by mention the resort its owners had talked about. Taking advantage of the driver's distraction, it immediately snuck onto the vehicle without a ticket. While Little White was racing toward its owners, the girl, accustomed to Little White's companionship, was constantly missing it too. To cheer up her daughter, the mother took her to play with other children. Unfortunately, the daughter was bullied by the other kids. The isolated girl felt very sad and missed Little White even more. The girl then discovered a suspension bridge. Driven by curiosity, she climbed through the wire fence alone and walked toward the forest on the other side of the bridge. The girl had no idea what terrible ordeal awaited her. In the deathly silent forest, the girl became increasingly frightened and soon got lost. She helplessly called for her parents but received no response. In the dark, terrifying forest, danger lurked everywhere. The girl lost her footing and fell, instantly getting a wound on her leg. Now she couldn't walk even if she wanted to. The girl could only cry helplessly. Suddenly, she heard a strange sound behind her. The girl timidly turned around and instantly broke into a smile. Little White had found her. No matter how far apart they were, Little White could always find its beloved young owner. The girl hugged Little White tightly. In that moment, she was no longer afraid. Meanwhile, the mother discovered her daughter was missing. They immediately sought help from the police, but searching for someone in such a vast forest would be extremely difficult. Worse still, a storm was approaching. The forest would become even more humid and stifling, potentially fatal for the girl with asthma. The couple was beside themselves with worry. The father could only search on his own. In the forest, the injured girl, accompanied by Little White, began slowly moving forward. With heavy rain approaching, they could only hide in a cave. The weakened girl collapsed from exhaustion. Little White's eyes were full of worry. It snuggled beside its young owner, using its body to warm her. After some time, the rain stopped and the girl gradually regained consciousness. They had to continue forward. But in the stifling forest, the girl's breathing became labored and her vision began to blur. She completely failed to notice the trap ahead. Fortunately, the alert Little White spotted it in time, pushing the girl aside with all its strength to prevent further injury. But without medication, the girl's condition was deteriorating. If they didn't leave the forest soon, her life would be in grave danger. They hadn't gone far when their path was blocked by a towering tree. The girl tried to climb over, but her weak body couldn't manage it. Little White could only watch anxiously. The exhausted girl sat on the ground, eyes full of despair. Unable to bear seeing the girl suffer, Little White rallied its spirits and ran ahead quickly. It reached one end of the tree and discovered a steep cliff below, impossible for the girl to cross. It went to the other end of the tree and found only dense, sturdy trees, also impassable for humans. Dejected, Little White returned to the girl's side, also beginning to worry. Want to know what happens next? Follow me, and I'll share the rest of the story soon.